Welcome to EvoDrive Official. In this video, we're counting down 10 crazy new inventions of 2025 that will absolutely blow your mind. From futuristic gadgets to mind-blowing technologies, these inventions are pushing the limits of human imagination. You won't believe what scientists, inventors, and tech companies have created this month. From flying cars and water vehicles to AI-powered robots and next-generation gadgets. If you're passionate about future cars, amazing inventions, and futuristic technology, then you're in the right place. Stay till the end because invention number 1 will shock you the most. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss the latest updates about the future of cars, technology, and innovation worldwide. The fire that freezes. Have you ever seen fire that freezes? I'm not talking about some movie special effect. I mean a real phenomenon. Flames that burn so cold they can turn water into ice. Sounds impossible, right? Because fire is supposed to be heat, destruction, energy. But nature has a way of breaking our rules. And once you know the truth, you'll never look at fire the same way again. The paradox. Let's start with the paradox. Fire is heat. Ice is cold. They're opposites. But deep underground, in oceans and frozen tundras, there's something strange. A crystal, a cage made of water molecules, trapping methane gas inside. It looks like ice. It feels like ice, but light a match near it and it bursts into blue flame. Scientists call it fire ice, or methane hydrate, a substance that burns while frozen. A dangerous treasure. Here's the twist. There's a lot of it. Trillions of tons buried under the seafloor and locked in Arctic permafrost. Enough energy to power the entire planet for centuries. Sounds like the perfect fuel, right? Clean-looking, compact, hidden treasure just waiting to be mined. But here's the catch. This fire that freezes could also be the fire that ends us. Because methane, the gas trapped inside, is one of the most powerful greenhouse gases known. If it escapes unchecked, it can warm the planet far faster than carbon dioxide. So is this frozen fire humanity's salvation or its doom? A fragile balance. Picture this. In the Arctic, temperatures rise just a few degrees. Permafrost melts. The hydrates trapped below begin to release methane. Tiny bubbles rise to the surface of lakes and seas. Light a match over them and you'll see flames dance across the water. It looks beautiful, almost magical, but every bubble is another blow to Earth's fragile balance. This isn't just theory. Scientists in Siberia have already documented craters, massive holes in the tundra, caused by sudden methane explosions. The ground literally bursts apart as the frozen fire escapes. So the question is, can we use this strange ice before it destroys us? The great promise. Countries like Japan and China think we can. They've already run test drills to extract methane hydrates from the deep sea. Imagine fields of white ice crystals pulled up from the dark ocean, then set alight like torches. A fuel that could end the world's reliance on coal and oil. But here's the danger. Disturb the hydrates too quickly, and instead of capturing methane, you might release it in massive quantities. The very act of mining it could spark the chain reaction we fear most. So, is the reward worth the risk? A chilling mystery. Now, here's something even stranger. Some scientists believe methane hydrates may already be behind past mass extinctions. 55 million years ago, Earth suddenly heated up. Oceans acidified. Species vanished. What caused it? One leading theory, a massive release of methane from frozen hydrates. If it happened once, could it happen again? That's the chilling mystery. We may be living on top of a ticking time bomb. A frozen fuse, waiting for the right spark. The human dilemma. So where does that leave us? On one side, frozen fire could be the bridge fuel that buys us time. Cleaner than coal. More abundant than oil. On the other side, it's a gamble. A gamble with Earth's atmosphere, oceans, and climate. Do we dare to harvest it, or should we leave it buried forever? The truth is, no one has the answer yet. Nations are racing to be first. Companies are investing billions, but the science is still uncertain. And while the debate rages on, the permafrost keeps melting. The hydrates keep bubbling. The frozen fire keeps stirring. So what do you think? Is fire ice humanity's greatest hidden treasure, or the most dangerous weapon we've ever unearthed? The story doesn't end here, because if methane hydrates are the fire that freezes, then what about the ice that burns forever? In the next episode, we'll dive into another strange substance, one that burns endlessly, even underwater. A clue from ancient history that could change our energy future. Don't miss it. Echoes of the Iron Legion. What if I told you an army once marched with no fear, no retreat, and no mercy? An army that carved its empire into stone and blood. This army was so strong that even its ghosts still shape our world today. I'm talking about the Roman legions, the iron fists of the ancient world. But here's the real mystery. How did these men, armed with nothing more than discipline, steel, and sheer will conquer land stretching thousands of miles. And what happened when the Iron Machine finally broke? Stay with me, because the echoes of the Iron Legion are louder than you think. The machine of men. The Roman legion was not just an army. It was a machine built out of men. Picture this: 5,000 soldiers, each one trained the same way, each one drilled until obedience was as natural as breathing. Together, they could form a wall of shield so tight, it looked like a single living creature. They called it the testudo, the tortoise formation. Arrows rained down, but the legion kept marching, step by step, unstoppable. This wasn't just about weapons, it was about control. A legionnaire knew that breaking rank meant death, not just from the enemy, but sometimes from his own commanders. So what kept them marching forward? Glory, fear, or something deeper? The power of fear and faith. Rome understood psychology. They paid their soldiers in land, wealth, and the promise of citizenship. But they also ruled with fear. If a unit failed, Rome had a brutal punishment: decimation. 1 man in 10 would be executed by his comrades. Imagine that, your best friend forced to strike you down because Rome demanded it. And yet, men still lined up to join. Why? Because to be part of the legion was to be part of something bigger than life, bigger than death. The legion was the empire, and the empire was eternal, or so they thought. But could even the strongest iron bend without breaking? The world they conquered. The legion spread across Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. They built roads, forts, aqueducts. They brought order, but also terror. In Britain, tribes watched as Roman camps rose like steel teeth in the soil. In Judea, rebels faced legions that showed no mercy. And in Gaul, Julius Caesar's legions slaughtered and enslaved millions, reshaping an entire culture. Everywhere the legions went, they left scars. Some healed into cities, others never closed. But here's the paradox: the same army that crushed freedom also built the foundations of law, language, and infrastructure that still survive today. So, was Rome's iron hand a curse or a gift? Cracks in the armor. For centuries, the legions seemed invincible, but no machine runs forever. By the 3rd century, cracks began to show. Too many enemies on too many borders, too much territory to control, and something worse: loyalty began to fade. Commanders turned their armies against each other, fighting for power in civil wars. The once united machine began to eat itself from within. And then came the outsiders, the so-called barbarians: Goths, Vandals, Huns. To Rome, they were savages. To history, they were the storm. But here's the twist: many of those barbarians had once served inside the legions themselves. They knew Rome's tactics. They knew its weaknesses. The Iron Legion was about to be broken by its own shadow. The day the eagle fell. In the year 378, at the Battle of Adrianople, the unthinkable happened. A Roman emperor, Valens, was killed in battle. His legion, once the hammer of the world, was crushed by the Goths. It sent shockwaves through the empire. If the legions could fall, then Rome itself could fall. And fall it did, city by city, province by province, until one day, the eternal city was sacked. The Iron Legion, the unstoppable machine, was gone. Or was it? Echoes that still march. Here's the part that might surprise you. Even though the legions fell, their echoes still march through time. The roads they built, many are still used today. The military tactics they perfected, modern armies still study them. The very idea of discipline in training, standing in formation, moving as one, that comes straight from the Roman legion. Even the symbol of the eagle, carried before Roman armies, survives in modern flags and emblems. The ghost of the legion didn't just haunt Europe, it spread across the entire world. So maybe the Iron Legion never really died. Maybe it just changed its armor. The human question. But here's the real question: was it worth it? Millions died under the march of Roman boots. Cultures were erased. Cities burned. And yet, the structure Rome left behind shaped the very civilization we live in today. Can you separate the cruelty from the legacy? The sword from the law? The blood from the stone? History doesn't give easy answers. It only leaves echoes. Echoes of the Iron Legion. The Romans weren't the only ones who built empires with blood and steel. Long before them, another army rose from the sands of the East. An army that would clash with the very legions themselves. In our next episode, we'll uncover the story of the warriors who dared to defy Rome and nearly shattered its empire. Don't miss it. The chariot without horses. What if I told you the very first cars didn't need gasoline? In fact, the world's first true automobiles ran without horses and without oil. They were faster than carriages, smoother than trains, and people believed they would change the future forever. So why, if the chariot without horses was already here in the 1800s, are we still struggling with the same technology today? That mystery takes us down a road paved with invention, sabotage, and forgotten dreams. The impossible dream. For thousands of years, the horse was humanity's engine. Kings rode into battle on chariots. Merchants carried goods on horseback. Life moved at the pace of hooves. But in the late 19th century, everything changed. Tinkerers, inventors, and engineers began asking the impossible. What if we built a chariot without horses? In Paris, steam-powered carriages puffed through the streets. In Germany, Carl Benz created his three-wheeled motor wagon. In America, early inventors experimented with electricity. Yes, electricity. Imagine it. Cars that didn't pollute, didn't roar, didn't need gas stations. They glided silently through city streets. So why didn't this peaceful revolution win? The electric beginning. By 1900, believe it or not, the majority of cars in New York were electric. Wealthy drivers loved them. They didn't smell like gasoline. They didn't require cranking a stiff engine by hand. And they were easier to drive, especially for women, who were often told that real cars were too dangerous. People predicted a future where cities would hum quietly with electric chariots. But there was a problem. Batteries. They were heavy. They didn't last long. And there was no network to recharge them. Enter gasoline. A dirty, noisy, smelly alternative, but one with a secret advantage. The gasoline takeover. In 1908, Henry Ford introduced the Model T. It wasn't the fastest, the most stylish, or even the most advanced car, but it was cheap. Mass production slashed prices. Anyone could own one. And with the discovery of massive oil fields, gasoline was suddenly everywhere. Electric cars faded. Steam engines sputtered out. The gasoline chariot took the crown. But was it destiny or design? The Forgotten Wars. Here's where the story takes a darker turn. Some say the electric car didn't just die, it was buried. In the 20th century, oil companies and automakers had everything to gain from gasoline. A car that didn't need fuel stations threatened billions in profit. Stories spread of electric prototypes being bought out, patents locked away, and engineers silenced. Whether conspiracy or coincidence, one thing is certain: the electric dream vanished for almost a century, but echoes of it remained. The ghost returns. Fast forward to the 1990s. Oil prices soared, pollution filled the skies, and people asked again, what if the chariot without horses never really died? Automakers released electric experiments. General Motors created the EV1, a sleek machine that drivers adored. Silent, smooth, efficient. But suddenly, just as quickly as it appeared, the EV1 was recalled and destroyed. Every single one. Why? Officials blamed lack of demand. Drivers swore it was a cover-up. The debate still rages today. But one thing was clear: the ghost of the electric car refused to stay buried. The second birth. Then came the spark that reignited everything. A small startup in California dared to challenge the giants. Their name, Tesla. With sleek sports cars and bold promises, they convinced the world that electric wasn't just possible, it was desirable. Other companies followed. Governments invested billions. Suddenly, the roads began to hum again with the sound of silent engines. But history has a way of repeating itself. Could the same forces that killed the first electric age strike again? The price of progress. Electric cars promise a cleaner future, but they come with their own shadows. Mining rare metals for batteries scars landscapes. Power grids strain to keep up. And questions remain. Can we recycle millions of old batteries? Can we build charging stations fast enough? It's the same battle the first inventors faced over a century ago. Technology against time. Innovation against resistance. So the real question is, will we learn from the past or repeat it? The human side. At the heart of this story is not just machines, but people. The dreamers who built the first horseless chariots, laughed at by neighbors. The families who rode proudly in silent electrics, only to watch them vanish. The engineers who fought against giants to bring them back. Every hum of an electric motor today is an echo of those forgotten pioneers. Their chariots without horses never truly disappeared. They were waiting for us. So now you know, the car without horses wasn't born in the 21st century. It was born over 100 years ago and nearly erased from history. But the story doesn't stop here. Because while some chariots ran on electricity, others ran on something even stranger. In the next episode, we'll uncover the secret of the car that ran on water and ask, if it was real, why did it vanish? Don't miss it.